Hey, so what if I told you that your dreams don't need to come true in order for you to be happy? Okay, what if I told you that no matter how hard you work, how much time, money, blood, sweat, tears you put in, that it could all still turn out as if you had never even started? Don't get all doomer on me, all right? That's a lot of us. The question is, how do we combat this and find a feeling of peace, maybe even success, feeling content with life? So, so let's start off like this. So I was looking at Facebook Marketplace trying to find something when my when my fat ass thumb misclicked, and I was faced with a video of Bo Burnham on Conan, and he was telling the audience that people like Taylor Swift, who have been very lucky, she's been very lucky in her artistic career path. They shouldn't give average everyday people any advice on how to get where they are. He joked that it would be like someone who had won the Powerball telling you to liquidate all your assets and buy Powerball tickets because you're bound to win eventually. I like that analogy. But don't get me wrong. I'm a creative with dreams of just having to create, just having to create in order to provide for myself. But at the same time, that's not happening right now, and I'm not getting any younger. Like when I was in high school, I formed a band with some guys that I knew, and we would practice in our spare time for the hopes that if we worked hard enough, wrote good songs, made an album, and had killer stage presence, that we could be like the rock stars we grew up listening to or were currently listening to. We would even go on like Wikipedia, and we would just like look up the ages of the musicians that we admired when they got big, and we would tell ourselves, well, we still got 5 or so years before we reach the age, when so and so made it big. Well, we're past that age now, and I thought it would eat at me and drive me insane. And the idea of getting older than the age of your musical influences, your heroes, and realizing slowly but surely that it wasn't meant to be you. Having to come to terms with the idea that it won't be you on that big stage with the hundreds to thousands of fans screaming your lyrics at you. It's just not in the cards. However, I grew out of a lot of those desires I once had. And honestly, the idea of being famous scares the absolute shit out of me. Okay? I would rather just be rich and anonymous. Because why be famous and give up your privacy and ability to fuck up without it being a 3-page article on some post somewhere that gets shared around because there's so many people that don't know you, but they want to see you fall because they themselves love to see a person doing better than them return back to earth like a Icarus that flew too close to the sun. Bro, fuck that. All right? Let me tell you how I'm finding peace, happiness, and a feeling of success in my current life. So, when I was living at home, I had to have all of my possessions in one room of the house, as most people do. But, all of my clothes, my collectibles, my furniture, decor, musical equipment, music recording equipment, art supplies, miscellaneous items from the past, etc., yada, 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 whatever. All jammed into a room where it felt cluttered and claustrophobic. I mean, I remember feeling ashamed by how my room felt. It never felt comfortable. And I never really wanted to be in it. And it's so funny because I had all of my creative belongings and stuff like in my room so that way I could just wake up and go straight to creating. But since it was so cluttered, no matter how much I organized it, it never felt like a creative space. It was more like an episode of Hoarders, Artist Edition, So, along with my room being uncomfortable, I also never felt like there was a good time to work on anything because it seemed like I was bothering people around me. I had started doing more home recording when I got my first MacBook, which was around the time my mom's boyfriend had moved in with his kids. My mom's a nurse who works 12 hours. She works like 12-hour days. Her boyfriend, blue collar, works 12-hour rotating shifts. And both my little sisters they were in school, but still in school. And they wanted to have peace and quiet so they could enjoy their own interests, hobbies, whatever. And at the same time, I was also working 12-hour days, just to throw that in there. So, While I never thought of my own desires to express myself were invalid or inappropriate, I myself as an adult understand that there are days you just want to come home and have peace and quiet to help recharge your batteries. Nothing wrong with that. I think maybe out of the month, there was like 1 or 2 days where there was no one in the house except me. And it was a toss-up if I would create that day, because either I wouldn't be in the mood or I would just be getting home from the night shift and would sleep until someone else came home. Now, once I was able to get a place of my own that had, in my opinion, enough space for me and my interest, I felt this enormous ease of tension lift from my shoulders, the realization that I had all the space and privacy to create what I wanted, where I wanted, when I wanted. It's a feeling of freedom that I hope I never let dull to the point where I begin to take it for granted and forget how privileged and how lucky I am to be where I am in my life at the age I am. I began to understand that what most artists have that I was so envious of, it wasn't the money, it wasn't the fans or the impact, it was just the ability to have a more defined space to create. I understand better than ever that to really achieve your dreams as an artist isn't like to be just an artist and only that, but to be able to create with freedom, to create without feeling like you're bothering those around you, to create without feeling like you're taking up too much space, to create without asking yourself, how much time do I have left before someone comes in and my flow is just broken? It's to create with no curfew, to create with no anxiety, to create as you please. And that's it. So I appreciate you guys letting me yap to you. I hope this helps you straighten some things out in your thought process. I love you, man.